Boom.
Hey guys, what is going on? We are in the zone. This is episode 136. I'm here always with Giancarlo Aulino, Anthony Pagniello, Chris Martelli here in the building, and we got to start this one off. For me, it's a funny note. I wouldn't say it's a bad note. I'd say it's a funny note, but the LA Clippers, they have been judged. They have been made fun of. They have just been the laughing stock the last year and a half, just based off of the playoff success that they have not been able to have. And then this beautiful, beautiful free throw by Paul George. Just look at that. Look at that face. He knew it was not going in. And what happens after this play? A late second alley-oop to the big dog, DeAndre Ayton. He gets the win. They're up 2-0 on the Clippers. Guys, what is Phoenix doing right? Because last year, they did not make the playoffs. They went 8-0 in the bubble. I said to you guys that maybe they're a playoff team next year, and that was a huge maybe. And now they're 2 games away from going to the conference finals, and this is all, well, I mean, not all of it, but this series so far without Chris Paul, you're up 2-0. What are your guys' thoughts so far on this series as a whole?
Start it, buddy.
Yeah, Paul George is a shooting guard, right?
I believe so.
How in the hell do you miss 2 free throws when you're a shooting guard in crunch time? He puts them up 3. If he gets both of them, misses both. So he had a chance to be a god. He got them there, so props to him. But now in this moment, he's really reminding everybody who he is in the playoffs, and it's not good. And yeah, if Kawhi's not back, they're fucked.
But yeah, I said it right before we went on. It reminded me of the Gilbert Arenas when he missed both free throws in the playoffs against the Cavs, but this is on a much bigger scale. With the Suns, I have no fucking idea, because they were ass up until the bubble last year, where they went undefeated, and that was the team with Ricky Rubio. But ever since then, they've been unstoppable. They've been the best bubble team in history. So I think it's just a whole team effort. You could put it on Devin Booker, saying this is his coming out party. It's his first playoffs, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, the Phoenix Suns have just been better, flat out.
I want to quickly talk about what Devin Booker's been able to do in this postseason. He's been averaging about 29, which is stupid numbers for any first ever postseason run. But another guy that's in his first postseason run that's been absolutely ridiculous is Trae Young. I want to quickly talk about the series that ended there. Philadelphia, guys, they are now eliminated. They are officially out this year. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, the process. What are your guys' thoughts on the process? I'm a little curious what you guys... What do you guys believe in the process? Is it starting to look as if this team's crumbling? And man, I got to say this because I love this guy, but I feel so bad for Doc Rivers.
Yeah. I'll take it, man.
Yeah, it's I feel bad for Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. They had an amazing regular season. You would think this team, the way it was structured, they got Danny Green and Dwight Howard from the Lakers, 2 guys who won a championship, and add that to their room. It did work in the regular season because they came in first, but when you look at the playoffs, it's just really weird. What happened there? Ben Simmons didn't look like the same player. He wasn't getting the same kind of numbers. His shooting was exposed that he can't shoot or he won't shoot the ball. He had so many moments where he could have just took it for a quick layup, get a quick 2 points, and he's looking to create a play, which didn't make sense. So I think Seth Curry outshined him, and Seth Curry's making $100 million less than him. So you can't have that if you're the 76ers. And I think now you have to trade Ben Simmons because you can't trade Embiid when he was on an MVP run. And going into the season last year, everyone was thinking, okay, are you going to trade Simmons? Are you going to trade Embiid? Going back and forth on which one could be the long-term fit. Now it looks like you're kind of have to trade Simmons, and if you don't, it's going to be a bad look on the franchise, a bad look on management, and I don't think they're going to be able to turn this around and be a contender if both of them on the same team next year.
Man, I didn't think it would actually come to this because we talked about it last week. And what was it? Was it 3-2 Atlanta at the time? And I'm still like, Philly's going to pull through with it. But just the way they went down was, I don't know if it was more Philly being a letdown or Atlanta and the Hawks kind of breaking through the glass there, kind of like Phoenix. But I don't know. Like, it's tough to win a championship. These guys are amazing. They're usually at the top of the conference every year, but they get bounced in the first or second round. Like, it's tough. They've been together. They're still, how old Simmons? 24, and Embiid's similar age. Like, they're still very young. They're still very good. They're going to be all-stars going forward. But as a duo together, yeah, it might be time.
Yeah, I like that. I really liked what I saw most of the year from, like you guys said, Joel Embiid, arguably the MVP front runner for majority match, maybe not majority of the year. That probably belonged to Jokic, but you could argue at times that Embiid was the best player in the whole world. So if I'm Philly, for sure, I'm not trading Joel Embiid. I think he's an absolute stud on the court, off the court. He's not too negligent. I knew back in the day he had a little bit more problems, but I think now he's starting to settle in. You know, he's now becoming a veteran presence already on this team. I think this is his 6th or 7th year. So a guy like Joel Embiid, a guy like Ben Simmons, these guys have been together for 5+. I think you guys hit the nail on the head. I think you guys said it perfectly. I think this is now the time where if you're the GM there of the Philadelphia 76ers, you have to just start looking at what fits can, actually help improve this team. I like what you said there, Aulino, with Green and Howard. You know, they're proven winners. They won the ring last year with the Lakers, and then they come here and they can't get it done. So there has to be something going on there. I know, like you said, Pagniello, it is hard to win a championship, no doubt about it. Ask guys like James Harden, still doesn't have one. So, and Russell Westbrook, but it's getting to that point where how many times can you finish first and then not even make the conference finals? So for me, it's a no-brainer. You have to trade one of them. And I know for sure if it is Joel Embiid, the return has to be on another planet. It has to be even greater than what Paul George got. So you're either looking at a full-on rebuild if you trade Joel Embiid. But in terms of Ben Simmons, I think I said this last week or 2 weeks ago. I want to just ask you guys, what do you think his market is? What do you think his value is? And how many teams do you think are willing to go out and get a player that isn't as comfortable shooting in a league where it's all about shooting nowadays?
Oh, that value is really low. And if I'm any team, I'm sending in the worst possible offer just to really see how much Philly want to get rid of them. Because if you send your best offer of like draft picks and all that, like they're obviously going to take it. So I'd start low and just see how much they'd be willing to take just to get that contract off and use that money to go after other pieces. But I think Ben Simmons is still valuable. If you have a point guard on your team that's a creative playmaker and you got shooters around him, I think Ben Simmons can thrive. It can't be in Philly anymore.
I'm not going to pretend like there aren't issues there with his shooting, but I think he is still very valuable. Like, he's still very young. I think his progression the last few years, it's obviously come on the defensive end. I think he's progressed defensively every year. Offensively, not so much. But, like, this is a guy who's on arguably first all-team defense every year, and he locks up the guy's best player every night, and he does so much for his teammates. So I think it's just based on fit. You got to find the right fit for Simmons. I would like to use him in like kind of like how Sabonis is used in Indiana. Like, he could kind of run the offense. He would play that kind of style. I think he's got really high value. I think they just got to get the team right with him because, you saw like he can play with Embiid. Embiid's one of the best players in the league, but if it doesn't work, the whole system gets fucked. So I still think his value's high for sure.
Yeah,
I think Golden State.
I think his value is pretty high too. It's just like you said, the fit. Like, you look at guys like Draymond Green, Andre Drummond, even like I want to say a year ago, Drummond's value in my eyes was relatively like, I want to say top 10 in regards to centers, and now it's looking like it's Boogie Cousins territory. So So Ben Simmons, his value will never get that low, even though his shooting is just not there. Like you said, his defense is on another level. It's what he's a top 5 defensive player in the league, no doubt about it, on a consistent night. But in terms of what this guy has to become, it just hasn't come yet. I don't know if it's ever going to come. I know he's teased us with the 3-point shot, and you can't take 6 shots a game. And Doc Rivers said it best. This guy has to shoot. He's got to get way more confident. Like, to me, it baffles me that a guy like Tobias Harris and Seth Curry put up like 19 shots a night, and Joel Embiid is still putting up 30 plus, whereas a guy like Ben Simmons, the ball is probably in his hand the most out of any player on that team, and he's taking like 6 shots. It just can't happen when you're a max player. You can't do that. So I think that's been his downfall this entire time, is this guy it's like he has negative confidence. Like, he has the ball, he does everything else right except thinking about shooting the ball. So like you said, you said it spot on, Pagniello, Aulino. You have to find the fit in terms of where. We have yet to know exactly where, but I think Ben Simmons will be fine eventually. But I want to quickly move on, talk about the other series that just ended, which to me was a huge – actually, I wasn't necessarily super surprised, but I want to say all in all, most analysts, I want to say, were very surprised. The Milwaukee Bucks taking out the Brooklyn Nets in 7 games. To me, by far, the greatest game in this playoffs, not even close. It kind of reminded me of last year's Game 6 between the Raps Celtics. I just want to ask you guys, what were your thoughts on Game 7? And are you guys surprised that Brooklyn got sent home packing?
Was a tough one. I thought Brooklyn had it all, like Harden, Durant. I think that was more than enough to get the job done. But I think we were talking about it last week. Like, who needs this win more for their legacy? It probably was Milwaukee, because if you lose again in the second round and against a team like this, like, I know last year was in the bubble, but like, you're going on a streak here where you lose to Toronto when you're looked at as a team that can give Golden State at the time a run for their money. You lose to Miami, who on paper you should have just won easily, and now Brooklyn, like, without Kyrie, so they only have 2 stars. One of them's injured, and Harden. So I don't think it would have been a good look if Kevin Durant ended up getting that shot and it was a 3 instead of a 2. So I think Milwaukee's lucky that they got past this hurdle.
Yeah, for real. That game was fucking awesome. That was a classic from KD. That was so much fun. But like, yeah, I don't know if I'm surprised. I did have the Nets winning, but you look at the Bucks, like, they're built to win. They've been built to win. Giannis and need this win, and they're finally in the conference finals. So, yeah, man, putting up that wall over the last couple of years, it's not looked like it's doing anything to Giannis this year. He's actually been unbelievable every game. But yeah, so with that being said, the Nets were my pick all year pretty much. So yeah, I easily have the Bucks winning going forward. But yeah, Chris, I'm with you. This was the most fun series.
Oh, by far, yeah. The expectations, they definitely didn't disappoint. I want to quickly bring up Giannis's numbers in Game 7. He was just absolutely incredible, because everyone just talks about KD's shot. Giannis arguably almost outplayed Kevin Durant, and you could tell that guys like Giannis, guys like KD, they were gassed. They played 53 minutes. I just want to quickly ask you guys about James Harden. I know he only put up 22 points, but what were your guys' thoughts on Steve Nash playing him the whole game on a strained hamstring?
That's probably those two before the game talking it out. Like, are you fucking 100% sure if I throw you out there, you're going to be good? But that's a gamer. That's James Harden. You know, he still went out there. He almost triple doubled. He played the whole game. Like, I respect that. So obviously, in long term, might not be the smartest decision, but in the moment, you're in the conference finals, you're that far into it. I mean, I respect it for sure, but all the praise from me goes to Kevin Durant, because like, he was in and out with Harden and Kyrie, and he was carrying the load for a lot of the time. Like, guys like Joe Harris and Blake Griffin had to really step up, so they were playing uphill the whole time. And yeah, so I love it.
Yeah, I liked how James Harden went in. He felt that he was good enough to play, and he wasn't just a pylon out there. Like he was actually productive. Got some shots off. Got like over 20 points. So at the end of the day, it did work. But like Kevin Durant and him going forward, I think that's a duo you build around. With Kyrie, like I don't know what they're gonna do with him. Like he's always, even though they say they're gonna use him, he's gonna be one of the focal points. In the past, we've seen that not work out. Like, look at the Celtics. It looked like Kyrie's going to be the leader. All of a sudden, they draft Tatum, and then Brown comes along, and those two guys are like going in a league of their own. They end up playing better without him. So it's going to be interesting next year. Like, let's say Harden and Durant play better without Kyrie in the lineup, and they look around and say, okay, do we need Kyrie? Like, is he going to be a player for us going forward? So I think Brooklyn's just scratching the surface here of what's to come, because if they're not successful next year, that's when all hell's going to break loose.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give them a pass for this year, just based off the injuries. I still think them not going to the conference is hilarious, but yeah, I understand. But Kyrie Irving, I think he's staying there. I think a lot of people, when they think of Kyrie Irving, they just think of the guy that thinks the earth is flat, and the guy that doesn't want to play, and the guy that takes personal days. And I don't get me wrong. There are a lot of guys in the league that they deserve to get chewed like pretty badly. Like there have been guys over the years that have just taken advantage, like a Blake Griffin on Detroit and like all these other situations. Like that's where the respect kind of fades away. But a guy like Kyrie Irving, you cannot disrespect this guy. Like I mean, you just can't hate him. He's a guy where he did that stuff for what's his name, for Floyd, the kills, for George Floyd in that incident. He bought the family a house. He sees the game a lot differently. It's bigger than basketball for him, this life. So, but in terms of what you're getting from Kyrie Irving, this guy will get you 26 points. He's one of the best point guards in the league, and make no mistake about it. Yes, he takes days off, but when he's on the court, he makes stuff happen all the time. So if I'm Brooklyn faithful, I'm definitely not ruling. I'm not canceling out Kyrie Irving just yet. I mean, it was one season altogether. They barely played, all three of them. So if they're all playing healthy, it's a problem. I wouldn't be surprised if they reach 60 wins next year.
Oh God.
But I want to also quickly add to, like, we have to look at now this series in Atlanta and Milwaukee, as a lot of people had it the other way. They had it Philly, Brooklyn, and I just want to say it's now 1-0 for Atlanta. Good on them. Trae Young is putting together. Dude, I don't know what it is. Like at times he looks like Damian Lillard out there, and it's his first freaking playoff run. I don't want to say he's looking like Steph Curry in his first playoff run. I'm not going to say that, but what do you guys expect? Like if Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks continuously go to the playoffs the next like 4 or 5 years, if this is the first we're seeing from Trae Young, what can we expect from him in like 4 or 5 years in the postseason?
I want to say a lot of the same. I don't know if they're going to go conference finals every year, but yeah, you look at the way this team is set up with Trae, and I assume they're going to keep Collins. I don't buy into that bullshit. Kevin Huerter's a nice player. Capella, like this is a good young team. Trae Young's leading the way. I didn't think he'd be this good this fast. Like I kind of put Booker in the same situation just because it's their first playoff run. They've both been unbelievable. Like Trae's just absolutely taken over. Like watching the game, it was the first time like I saw Drew Holiday have issues with someone. He was solid offensively, but like he couldn't keep up with Trae. And I'm just watching this guy run around. He's looking like stuff out there. So must be nice to be a fucking Hawks fan.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially like he hasn't been a guy who slowed down. Like he comes in every game, he's putting up like 30 plus, gets 40, still getting assists, being creative and knocking down important shots. So I hope Milwaukee doesn't underestimate them, because this is a team that could surprise everybody. Like just imagine if Atlanta gets to the final and it's them they're going to be looked at as the underdog because they're the younger team. Like Trae Young, if he goes against Chris Paul, he's going to be looked at as the underdog because Chris Paul, even though he hasn't been in the final, he's been around all these scenarios his whole career. And if he goes against the Clippers, he might have a better shot because Paul George, you never know which one you're going to get. But there's Kawhi Leonard there, and that could be a problem. So Atlanta will be the underdog regardless, and I think they're embracing that role, and they're looking like a team that could win it all. And if they can beat Milwaukee, I wouldn't put it past them of winning this championship.
Yeah, that would be insane if they take out Milwaukee. That's nuts. I really don't know what I would say. I mean, Trae Young, I know he's elite. I know he's going to be among the greatest to ever probably play in terms of offensive ability. But if this guy comes in first postseason and takes out Philly, Milwaukee, like, oh man, that's GOAT stuff right there. Like a lot of people could not do that in the East for the longest time, like DeMar and Kyle Lowry. So if Trae Young's just going to come in here first playoff and beat out Giannis and Embiid, that looks pretty damn good on a resume. But I love what they've done all in all. You know, you get Gallinari, Bogdanovic in the free agency. You have to bite the bullet there, though. I mean, you signed Gallinari $90 million, you signed Bogdanovic $70 million. Two international guys, very well-known guys in this league, and they're playing their role perfectly. And you know what the craziest part is? I haven't really seen a lot of DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish in this playoffs. They're really rolling with the veterans here. I mean, Trey's not a veteran, but this is his third year with the team. You have Trey, you have Capella, you have Collins. Those three are always going to be deadly. Herter, to me, he's the X factor because there's one game he could get you 9 points, and then there's another game he can get you 25 easily. So if I'm the Hawks, keep running through your backcourt. At times when they're cold, you can go to Capella and Collins in the paint. That's another beauty to have when you have a guy like Collins and Capella. If the three-point shot isn't working, you could just play the bully ball. Capella can go up against Lopez. Collins can go up against Giannis. I really like this matchup for Atlanta. I'm not going to lie. I think, if they can take out a Philly, there's no reason why they can't believe in themselves at this point and saying, hey, let's go out and take out the back-to-back MVP and Giannis. But to me, this is the Cinderella story. I think this out impresses last year's Miami run. That's just my opinion. I think I never really saw Atlanta. Yes, they had the Knicks in the first round, and everyone, was kind of making fun of that series. Oh, it's two teams that really have no business being here, and Atlanta's proven it. So I'm really happy for them. I'm rooting for them here. I still have the Bucks in six or seven, but I mean, Trae Young, like you guys said, anything is possible at this point. But I just love what I've seen with Trae and Booker. Their first playoff runs, and they've been sending a message, just like what Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell did last year. So I'm gonna finish by saying that the NBA, when LeBron James retires, when all these guys start retiring, the league is in great hands. That's all I'm gonna say. With guys like Trae Young and Booker, we're probably not gonna see the last of these two in the postseason, and especially on these runs. But come on, guys, How awesome would it be if we had Trae Young versus Devin Booker, their first playoff runs both, and they're in the finals? That would just be amazing. It would throw everybody off. But you know what? I'm going to finish by saying this. To both of you guys, this season has been really, really fun, but this has been probably the most unpredictable, topsy-turvy type shit that I've ever seen in the NBA. There's no Golden State. There's no Kevin Durant. There's no LeBron. I got to bring this up. How different does this type of playoff feel without these guys? Because I've been so used to Curry and LeBron for so long. I need to ask you guys, what do you guys feel about this? To me, it just feels so fresh. I just love it.
Yeah, the last 10 years, you just get used to certain things, seeing the same 4 to 6 teams every year. You're like, yeah, we'll go by the regular season, but when it comes down to it, we know who's going to be there. But this year, fucking what the hell's going on? I snapped you guys the other day the picture. They showed the final 4 teams, like the Clippers never went to the finals. Atlanta last time in the finals, 55 or something. The Bucks, 50 years ago, it was fucking insane. So, yeah, it's awesome for the league seeing these new teams here and seeing these young players get this exposure on this primetime TV. So, you gotta love it for sure.
Yeah, like it's been unpredictable, kind of like when the Raptors went to the final. Like even though they were kind of favored, but it was just something new. Like Raptors and Golden State, everyone would be assuming it's going to be the Bucks, but seeing Atlanta emerge as this rising team, even though they had like an even record, they take out the Knicks and get all this excitement. I still think Vince Carter's a little pissed off, even though he might be happy on TV. I don't think he's happy. I think he's really mad that this could have been him if he just extended the career one more year, kind of like what he's been doing. But I don't know, Atlanta, they're a nice story. I just don't know if they'll be able to continue it next year once Brooklyn is completely healthy. Philly, who knows? Like changes they'll make the Raptors. You can't count them out because they're arguably a playoff team next year and probably a top 5 one too. So I think the East is going to look a lot different next year. Miami, who knows too with them. So Atlanta coming up like this is going to bring more attention to their market. Maybe free agents might want to go there and play with Trae Young. So looking forward to that next year.
I'll end the basketball talk with this. Out of the two guys that we've mentioned numerous times, and Trae Young and Devin Booker, which guy have you been more impressed with in this postseason?
For me, I'll go Trae Young, but that's basically a coin toss.
Yeah, I'm going to go Trae Young on that one.
Did you see what Stephen A said about Booker? Is he the next? He's reminding him of Kobe, or he's the next Kobe, or some shit. And then everyone just lost their mind.
Yeah, that's ridiculous praise. But Kobe has 5 rings, so if Devin can at least get one, then we can maybe start the conversation. But as long as he's ringless, you cannot bring that up. There's no way. He's not Kobe.
Oh man, what a playoffs!
What'd you guys think of the Raptors getting the top 4 pick?
Oh, let's get into that. Oh man, that was fun. I actually said to a guy at work, I said, if there is a team that's going to win the lottery, it's the Raptors. And they didn't get the first pick. They didn't, win the Grand Slam, but they did move up to 4th. That's astronomical. When you go from 8 to 4, especially in this draft class, that's from getting a B+ player to potentially an A+. So if I'm the Raptors, this is an absolute win. They're laughing. They're not going to be in that spot next year, and probably not for a long time after. The last lottery pick we had was Mr. Terrence Ross. So the Raps have been known for winning the last couple of years, and of course, this is the year where they got to they got to win the lottery, and they win the lottery, and everything's looking pretty damn solid.
We deserve this out of every team in the league. We weren't home all fucking year. None of our guys played together at all. We got rocked with COVID the most. Man, this is killer for the Raps. I'm thinking it's going to be Suggs. I know you want to take Green, but yeah, especially if Lowry's on his way out going forward, if we can get someone for our backcourt, the Raps can be right there in the playoff picture next year.
Would you be open to trading the pick if you get a star center?
No way. Wait, how are you getting this center? You're packaging the pick with what?
Probably, I hate to say it, but Siakam.
Oh my God, what center do you want back?
Yeah, that
Karl
better be
Anthony
Embiid.
I want the MVP then. Jesus Christ.
Or do you see a scenario where, let's say, Philly's going to trade somebody for Lowry, like Ben Simmons, and you make like a package there. At power forward, you would have Simmons, or would you put Van Vliet at point guard and Simmons at Van Vliet at shooting guard, Simmons at point guard, and then trade the draft pick for somebody else?
I'm keeping the pick. I think I'm just gonna keep it simple this offseason if I'm Toronto. You go on the draft. They came 13th, I think, in the East, or 12th, something like that. They knew it was an off year. Masai knows too, even if his future is still a little rigid with this organization. I know he's done a tremendous job, but yeah, Aulino, I like where you're going with, maybe trying to snag a Ben Simmons or an Embiid, like if you want to package it, but I'm not doing it. I think that's way too risky. I'll stick to this. If Evan Mobley's available at 4, I'm not even thinking twice. I think he could be the best player in the draft. And of course, when you look at the guys we need a center. We have Kem Birch. He's been a credit to him. He came to this team. He was motivated. He's Canadian, and he's done a great job. Chris Boucher is another guy, Canadian. He's done a great job. He's a free agent. I don't know necessarily if we have the space to sign a guy like a Boucher. I really hope he returns next year. At the beginning of the year, he was looked at as an MIP player. But, yeah, I'm keeping it simple. I'm going with either Green, Mobley, or Suggs. As expected, we're definitely going to get one of those 3. But at the end of the day, Aulino, the beauty of this situation is the Raps really don't lose in this sense unless they go out and they trade the pick and they get a risky return back. But if I'm the Raps, let's just play it simple. Just draft the best player available and go from there.
I think I would always entertain it, though, just for shits. I would pick up the phone. I'd be like, what do you got? You're going to blow my mind, though. But, yeah, if I'm the Raps, you're picking the scraps, whoever the 4th guy is there. I don't think there's any chance in hell it's Mobley. That would be fucking nice for a need, but win-win situation.
Yeah, because you never know. LaMelo went down to Charlotte last year. He should have went first overall, I think, on a lot of people's draft board. Like, I know Wiseman stuck out, but I don't know. If you had the choice there, like let's say the Raptors had 4th last year, I think there would have been an inside campaign for Masai to move up. So if you can get something similar in this draft, I think Suggs would be an attractive piece, or Mobley. Yeah, I think you would ride with them, but that means Lowry you would have to trade for a power forward or center.
I think it all depends on what he wants to do. I think Kyle's probably going to talk to his agent and to Masai probably before the draft. So we'll probably have a better sense of what direction Kyle Lowry wants to go in. I know for sure I've heard Miami and Philly for a majority of the year, if it wasn't obviously staying and he stayed. So I know he's definitely going to get a huge pay cut. I know he believes that he's going to get that. He's not going to get 35, 40 million again. So it's either I see him either getting a bridge deal or maybe a 1-year deal. But regardless, I think whoever we draft, I think it lands a big part of it lands on what happens with Kyle Lowry. I think Lowry's he's basically been here for what? Like it's been 10 years now. So he's been here for a decade. He's going to go up to Masai, say, hey, listen, either A, I'm done here, it was great, or B, let's run it back one more time. Why don't we go out and get a winger like Jalen Green? Or maybe you can reduce my minutes. Maybe you can try and move Gary Trent to the 3, and that's when you get Jalen Suggs. So I don't know. It's really going to be interesting to see what type of approach the Raps want to go in, if they want to go with OG being that more defensive type player. Whereas if we were to draft a Jalen Green, he could be the more offensive wing, whereas OG can be that shutdown type guy like a Ben Simmons. So it really does depend on what Kyle Lowry does. It's really interesting either way, but I really do want Mobley or Green over Suggs. That's my opinion.
It's another jersey buy.
Yeah, regardless. Yeah, it's another jersey buy. I mean, my friend at work today, he basically said that the last 2 4th overall picks that the Raps have gotten are both Hall of Famers. They're both it's Chris Bosh and Vince Carter. So let's see if that trend continues, Aulino.
Yeah, would be something.
Now we got to move it on. We got to move to the rink. We got to go because I really don't want to talk about it, but we have to. So the Islanders, they lost 8-0 in Game 5, and then all of a sudden in Game 6, it goes to overtime, and Beauvillier, the sniper over there, he ends it. What are your guys' thoughts overall on both these series? I have barely watched any of the Habs and Vegas because they're late night games, but Montreal is a game away from going to the Stanley Cup. I have never, ever in my life been able to say that, so I'm very pissed off saying it. What are your guys' thoughts on the Final Four teams? Any surprises here? Any individual stats that blow your mind?
Oh, Lino, go.
You know what I'm going to say. Jordan Eberle. That's who it is. I just think he's active on these plays. I think he's involved a little bit, like just some of the assists. It looked like he had one there near the end of the third. He was setting up, I think it was Barzell, but I think he is looking like a completely different player in the playoffs. I don't know what Barry Trotz said to him before the playoffs, but this is a player that I think as this goes on, can you imagine if he scores like a game-winning goal against Tampa in Game 7, what his stock will rise to? Because I think we're in for a golden goal moment here 11 years later.
I don't know what to believe with the Islanders. I've actually seen more of the other series, so yeah, they got absolutely spanked at home, and then they kind of kicked back into it. So now we got a Game 7 here. I did not think it was going to go Game 7. Shout out to the Islanders. They are for real. What the fuck happened to Varlamov? Real quick, little side question. Did something happen when he left Colorado where it's like, okay, I got it in me. I got to prove it now.
Kind of like
He's
Robin
one of the
Leonard.
best goalies in the league. Yeah, like what the fuck happened there?
I don't know, man. It's just some goalies, they leave and they just get better. It could be coaching, it could be management. I don't really know. I've asked myself that for the last 17 years with the Leafs. So in terms of Varlamov, he's a proven pro. He goes out there, he works hard, and he in 2013, I think he was a finalist for the Vezina. So we always knew that he kind of had it in him. I guess when Colorado gave up on him, it was more like a slap in the face to him, and I guess he took that as, "Oh, you guys got rid of me? Okay, watch me tear it up now." So I'm really happy for a guy like Varlamov, with the incidences he's had off the ice, and he's been able to put those incidents behind him, and now he's been full on successful as a number one goalie in a market that. For the longest time, a lot of the fan base, like a lot of hockey fans, just did not believe in. I still, to this day, I don't know how they're doing it. The Islanders. I mean, you really don't have that number one. I mean, I guess it is Barzell, but other than that, they really don't have that superstar player. Whereas, you look at Tampa Bay, they have Hedman, Point, Stamkos, Vasilevsky. Like, if Tampa doesn't win this is, to me, the biggest blunder of a year in Stanley Cup history. Like, if we get Montreal and New York in the finals, I said it before, I'm not watching it. I really don't have any interest in seeing the Islanders and the Habs in the finals. Love both those teams, the work ethic, all that, but just not interested. So, I mean, Aulino, I like what you say about Jordan Eberle. He's a guy that, he's 31, 32 now, been in the league for 13 years. He's getting his opportunity here. I think this is a guy where he's starting to realize that this might be the farthest he ever goes. So I'm really rooting for a guy like Jordan Eberle. But how about Braden Point? Let's just talk about Braden Point for a second. This guy has scored in 9 straight games. He's got 14 goals already, not even in the Stanley Cup Finals. Is it safe to say Braden Point might be the best player on this team?
Arguably, but shit. Yeah, 14 goals. He's been doing it consistently all playoffs. Like, I think I'm more surprised with Kucherov because he just kind of came back and was leading, and he still is for the longest time. Kind of like he didn't miss the whole year. So for him to jump back right into it and kind of pick up where things left off it's fucking unbelievable. But Braden Point, you just talked about Barzell before. Like, this guy stepped into the league and right away immediately gelled with Kucherov and Stamkos, and he's one of the best players in the league at 23 years old. He does everything for Tampa, so man, just scary.
Yeah, I think Kucherov's still better, but you can't discredit what he's done. Like, it's impressive. He's outplaying Stamkos, I think. But this series, I think, if we're comparing to the NBA, I think this is the Atlanta Hawks versus Philly series. I think Tampa is the 76ers easily, just a balanced lineup they have, and they're looked at on paper as a team that should easily win this, but here come this little underdog team in the Islanders that just runs them out of the building one night, comes back, and it's the Islanders who get the last laugh in OT. So I'd be worried if I'm Tampa going to Game 7 because I think this is not the team that you want to take a chance on. I think they blew one in Game 6, and it might come back to haunt them because, yeah, you won 8-0 the last time in Tampa, but the Islanders going into Game 7 does not look like a very appealing team to play against, and I think we're going to see the Islanders pull something off here. They can pull off the upset, but I don't think it's going to be a one-sided win like Game 5 was.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think if anything, this shows that the Islanders can go with anybody. And I mean, when they took out Boston, I knew right from the get. I mean, I called that. I said to my dad, I said, "Look, listen. Like, I think Varlamov is way better than Rask right now. I think this is where." If they play shutdown defense, if their top six is rolling and playing the role that they have to, then I think Boston might get in trouble. And then bam, they got eliminated, and now they're a win away from going to the Stanley Cup final. And I love what I've seen from Paul Mary. I love what I've seen from guys like Leddy and Pajot and Beauvillier. Like these guys, they're not sexy names by any means, but they're gelling. The chemistry's there, and you just got to give them all the credit in the world. And a guy like Nick Leddy, who 2 years ago going a -40, and now this guy's a plus in the postseason. So it's amazing how some players can just completely do a switch. And Nick Leddy is definitely one of those players. And they're definitely – I just love the whole story too because Anders Lee's been out all year and he's their captain. So they're going out there and they're trying to win it for their captain as well. But we'll go on now to the other series. I mean, Cole Caulfield, guys, we got to bring this guy up a little more. I know he's going to be a superstar in this league. At least I think so. I guess I'll start with Aulino. But what you've seen with Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki, should we as Leaf fans and we as hockey fans, should we get prepared for these two? Because they look like they are absolutely torching it in the playoffs. And what do you guys expect from that duo, Suzuki-Caulfield, moving forward for the Montreal Canadiens?
Damn. Oh, man, I hope it's not a final because it would just make the Leafs, oh, man, that loss look even worse. But where's all that talk from all those pundits online saying that the North Division was trash? This division's weak. These guys, once they play an American team that has some fundamentals on defense, they're just going to run them out and sweep them in 4. I haven't seen that. I saw Vegas now take another loss. This is a team that has Mark Stone, Max Pacioretty, Marchessault, Tuck, Carlson, Pietrangelo, Theodore, Fleury, and Leonard as a backup. Like Robin Leonard's a backup with his team. And they're going this far into this round against Montreal, a team that came in 4th in the North Division. I think it's a bad look on all those people that kind of doubted the North Division. So I wouldn't be surprised if Montreal goes to the final at this point. And I think it's just karma and the hockey gods sending a message to everybody to slow their roll next time they jump to conclusions. And I think Toronto fans are going to be pissed if Montreal holds a cup at the end of the year.
His team's fucking 5 wins away from a Stanley Cup. Are you kidding me? Forgot your fucking question. Suzuki and Caulfield. Holy shit. Kind of like the NBA with all the young stars coming into the league. Like, they're getting points every single game. Like, they're carrying the power play. They're dancing around guys. They look like they've been there a bunch of times before. And, like, we've been saying it week after week, all the other little additions they picked up throughout the year have just been absolutely money for them. But yeah, the young kids for the Habs have been, that's actually so fucking good. And Carey Price, this is actually his year. So if it's not this year, it's not going to fucking happen again. So if they're going to win it, I'm going to be so happy for Carey Price. He absolutely led the way over there. But yeah, the Habs are good. They're for real. Gotta stop fucking around now. If they win it, I don't think should be surprised anymore.
I'm just gonna say, like, because we said from the beginning of the year that Montreal was a team that would not make the playoffs. They would not really garner any sort of success this year, and now they're 5 wins away. I guess now we got to start looking at teams a little differently now. I mean, it happened with Vegas 4 years ago when they came in as an expansion team, and they go to the Stanley Cup Finals and they lose to I think, who was it, Sidney Crosby, and then of course, or no, sorry, Ovechkin, and then now you see this Montreal team. It's almost a similar story, and now they're colliding in the conference finals, and I can't believe Montreal's up 3-2. Josh Anderson, man, like, you need a player like him to go to the finals. I think these guys are so overlooked now in this skilled type league. Like, you need a guy like an Anderson, you need a guy like a Corey Perry. You need those guys that just bring that success. And I know Kyle Dubas, he tried by bringing in Simmons and bringing in Thornton, but you need the guys like Stahl, you need the guys like Perry to really, really go over there. And this is a team where I know there are rivals, but if you look at the names on this team, we can't really go against them, can we? Like, Eric Stahl, love the guy. Corey Perry, love the guy. Shea Weber's an absolute beauty. He also has yet to win a cup. So, like, at this point in time, I'm not getting on their bandwagon or anything. It's just like, if they won, I really wouldn't be all that upset. Just because Carey Price, like you said, well-deserving. He's now 31, 32 years old. Shea Weber's another guy that needs a cup. This would be a feel-good story, not only for the league, but for the history of the NHL in an original 6 winning. So with that being said, I guess Montreal, if they win the cup, good on them. If they don't, like you said, Pagniello, I don't know if they'll ever get there again. So this is a big year for Montreal fans, huge year. But I think Cole Caulfield, Suzuki, regardless, they're going to be problems in the future. But Aulino, I like what you said. You bring up all those names of Vegas. I think that you brought up like 9 different names. Is it safe to say that Shea Theodore may be the best defenseman on Vegas?
Yeah, it's a debate there. I know a lot of people are having, but Pietrangelo does have the Stanley Cup, and he won it recently, so it's not like he won it 10 years ago. So I still would put my money on Pietrangelo just because he's a little bit more solid, even though his regular season numbers didn't jump out. That's a guy I'd rather have on my team right now, but in the next year or two, Theodore is slowly becoming that guy and developing into that superstar defenseman.
It's literally like last year. But like, yeah, I have nothing to add to that. I think he's trending that he's going to be better, but as of right now, Pietrangelo still the guy.
Well, I guess I'll finish by saying this, guys. With whatever is left, I know it's 3-2. It's 3-2 Montreal, and it's 3-3 in the Islanders Tampa. We got to do this. I have to ask the question: what is the Stanley Cup Final looking like, and who is your champion as of right now?
Oh my God. I'm gonna go Tampa Bay Montreal final, and I'm going Tampa in 6.
Yeah, I'll go off the board a little bit because I don't want to see Tampa win back-to-back years because fuck that. I would hate that. They're over the cap like by I don't know how much millions of dollars. It's like they have a luxury tax, so they're running an NBA team over there. So I'll say Islanders, and I'll say Vegas figure it out and manage to get the win there. And I'll go Vegas winning the cup in 6.
Oh, wow. I'm going to go with Tampa Vegas. I'm going to stick with that. And I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. All right, Aulino? I think they're winning back-to-back. I think Tampa's way too good. I think if they win Game 7, because you don't know, but if they do win, I do see them not easily, but I do see them winning the Stanley Cup. I just feel like when you're over the cap and you won it last year with majority of the same people, it looks like it's the grass has never been so green in Tampa Bay. So even though it's a Game 7, I don't think they're all that worried. I'll stick with Tampa, and I think Braden Point is easily the Conn Smythe winner. But with that being said, do you guys have anything else to add to this episode?
Yeah, I'm good there.
All right. Well, with that being said, please stay tuned. You guys got to watch Devin Booker, Trae Young. You guys got to watch them ball out. Let's see if Giannis can maybe go chase that first title. He's never been closer. And then, of course, we got the Montreal Canadiens, the Cinderella story. Let's see if they can pan out there. If not, maybe Vegas takes them out. But with that being said, this is In the Zone, episode 136. Stay tuned for next week's episode for more sports content.